I'm backstage right now with Gyasi and Christina Ho, both former members of Stanford Talisman and current opening acts curators for Stanford Lively Arts. And you've just come off the stage from singing with Talisman in opening up for Vusi Mahlasela. And first of all, congratulations. I think it's safe to say that the audience loved you.
Yeah, we're glad. We're thrilled just to be able to do this.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
One thing I read all the applications for the opening acts curators, and one thing I noticed that really stood out for both of you two is a lot of the applicants said, had sort of a general idea of something they'd kind of like to try or something in general they were interested in. But I think in both of your applications, you said words to the effect of, "I want Talisman to open for Vusi Mahlasela."
pretty much,
Yeah.
pretty much.
We knew that it would be a really important experience for Talisman to have as a group because of the way that our roots have been, seated in South Africa. So.
You said a couple of words on stage about what Vusi's music means to you, but just for people who are watching this video who maybe aren't here tonight, could you just express a little bit of that, what role his music's played in your own musical lives or spiritual life even?
Yeah, so every year, Talisman, to introduce the new members to the group, we all sit down and we watch the documentary that Vusi was sort of made famous in the U.S. for, called Amandla, A Revolution in Four-Part Harmony. And some people come into the group not even knowing anything about South Africa, what apartheid was, what it meant, and watching this documentary just totally opens people's eyes to how important of a role music played in the anti-apartheid movement. And of course, in that documentary, Vusi performed several times, and he just has this amazing voice. No one can ever forget it.
So beautiful.
Having heard Vusi, you just remember him forever. And so, we always, he was one of our favorite parts of that entire movie, and we just looked up to him so much. He's just like this hero for us. And so when we heard he was coming to Stanford, and not only that, but that students would get a chance to curate an opening act, actually, and I didn't even know that the other one was applying.
Yeah.
But both of us just got this idea, and we're like, Talisman has to do it.
Yeah. And it was obviously impossible for us to choose between you. So.
Yeah, we're glad. We're a good team.
Yeah, we are. We're friends.
So knowing now what Vusi's music means to you, and this was obviously a big challenge, but it may be in a way a daunting challenge. And I'm just wondering how you approach this task of either selecting the repertoire or just marrying what you do to his work, knowing that you'd immediately precede him onto the stage.
Right. Well, we knew that we wanted to do songs that spoke to South African issues. We went to the Ida Day workshop with Vusi, and he was talking about how he experienced the Soweto massacre when he was only 11 years old, and so we instantly knew that Talisman should sing Soweto blues and just have that kind of a connection to Vusi's experiences as well as with our own experience of the music. And we also wanted to open it up to issues that affect America and Americans too. So we thought about Lift Every Voice and just different songs that show how struggle is universal, but also universally able to be overcome.
It seemed a very kind of along the veins of what you're in the vein of what you're saying. It seemed a really natural choice that some of your music was sung in English and others in indigenous language to Africa. I'm curious. You obviously sing with tremendous precision. It's breathtaking to hear the delicacy of your arrangements, and so that means to me that you spend a lot of time rehearsing. And I'm just wondering, and I know that as Stanford students, you're also very, very busy with your studies. And actually, what are both of your majors in your class years right now?
I'm comparative literature, and I'm a senior.
Okay.
I'm English with a creative writing emphasis, and
Okay.
I'm a junior.
So how does one fit all of that rehearsal time into a Stanford career? And I'm curious, that's sort of a part two of that question. What role does having been in Talisman play in your overall Stanford experience?
Wow, that's a big question.
Yeah. I don't want to keep you too long, because I know you want to hear Vusi, who's about to go on. So.
Yeah. you just, when you get into Talisman, you recognize that it's going to be such a huge part of your life, and more than just what you give of your time, but what you give emotionally too. And so I think everybody makes the conscious effort to make it a priority and to say, okay, we have 5 gigs this week and we have, 3 rehearsals, and I'm going to show up on time and put in everything that I have to give, because we only have this limited time with each other. And then you go home and you do your work. And there's always a lot of work. But I think for me, when I leave Stanford, I'm always going to say that I was a member of Talisman when I define my Stanford experience or what Stanford meant to me. So that's why it's that important.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that Talisman is huge time commitment. It's a huge life commitment. I was in the group freshman year, and then I directed it sophomore year, so it was an even bigger commitment. But being in the group has totally shaped my whole Stanford experience. Being able to go to South Africa both freshman year and sophomore year over spring break with this group. South Africa is a place I never dreamed of going myself. It just never even came into my head. But when I went there, and when we were able to sing this music, South African music that people knew and would immediately start singing along with us, and just being able to connect with complete strangers in an instant through music, that was something life-changing for me. And that's something that I've discovered and experienced in Talisman, but I've also been able to take that to other parts of my life and really just given me a new way to see the world and music and people. So, yeah.
Actually, on that last point, I was speaking about it being daunting to sing before Vusi Mahlasela. Was it daunting at first to think that you would be singing South African music to South Africans in South Africa? Or?
Yes.
Very much so.
That's like one of the biggest questions we have every year, or every South Africa year, is what right do we have to be singing these songs to these people? What do we know about what it means to have gone through some of the things that we're singing about? And I think ultimately there's so much joy in sharing music, in that connection that you get with someone that you've never met before who just stands up and starts singing with you. And so it all becomes worth it.
And I think the people that we've met and sang for in South Africa, including Vusi, singing for him tonight, they've just been so gracious to us in saying, yeah, this is our music, but it's more like, wow, you know our music and you're singing our songs. That's so awesome. And it's just such a joyful thing for them. They're not like, what are you doing? And so it's just been such a gift that they've given us that we're really thankful for.
Are both of you planning to pursue singing once you're out of Stanford as well, or I know it's hard to say when you're both in the humanities, moreover, which I was as well. Yeah. So you're not sure exactly what you'll be doing, but
yeah. I think it's more along the lines of not sure.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Not sure.
Well, even if you stop now, you've done a great deal, I think, and come a long way. So thank you very much again for taking part in not only tonight's performance, but in this curatorship program. It's meant a lot to us as an organization as well.
Thank you. We love Lively Arts.
Yeah, you're so cool.
Thank you.
Thanks.